Tonight on the final score, Super Wildcard Weekend recap. We got coaches everywhere. We got players retiring. And one thing that never changes this time of year, the Cowboys are going home. All that more tonight on the final score.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Final Score with Matthew and
Stevie Fly. Sorry, Cowboys fan. I had to throw that out there. But anyway.
I done messed up your intro. You done had it perfected, and I was like, wow, 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 wow. I know you felt like I just ruined the whole script, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, you always do.
I know, I do.
So, tonight, guys, like I
Kind of
said,
like the Packers did.
we'll get to that in just a minute. So tonight, guys, our Super Wildcard Weekend recap. We're going to give you our picks for this weekend. It's a divisional round, I guess is what it is. And we'll talk some current NFL news that's going on. Um, a lot of big things coming out of Wildcard Weekend. Retirements announced. We thought we might have some coaches getting fired, but that didn't happen. And plus, you got some of your coaching vacancies. There being interviews for that, and surprising where one of these coaches, these legendary coaches, might end up. But Matthew, hear you back there. I know you're a happy man. You're a Giants fan. Anytime the Cowboys get beat in the playoffs, you're a happy man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Stevie. Hope you all trying to stay warm.
Yes, the cold, it's definitely winter. A little bit, it's not as bad right now. I think we're looking at actually we're in the 30s. I think the high 30s right now. But look, Tuesday morning or was it Wednesday morning? Wow. And this weekend's supposed to be pretty bad. I know for you, if you're people up north or out in the Midwest are listening, you're probably listening to us like, that's a freaking heat wave to us.
Yeah.
But 13 degrees this weekend for the low one morning. That's in North Carolina. That's pretty low. But anyway, we'll deal with it. It's that time of year. We'd be complaining if it was 99 degrees outside. We're complaining when it's 13 degrees outside. So it is what it is.
That's right. And I tell you what, though, I'm glad Packers bought the heat this week. Speaking of being cold,
talk about that.
And you said, as a Giants fan, I'm glad the Cowboys lost. Not only am I happy that the Cowboys lose, but ain't no NFC East team in the playoffs no more.
Yeah, that one wasn't as surprising for me. The score was a little bit more surprising than I thought it was going to be, But that was a total collapse by the Eagles. I mean, total collapse at the last part of the season. I don't know what happened there, but we'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, let's get to a little bit of the news up here. Let's start with the coaching vacancies. So, Bill Belichick. A lot of people were wondering if Belichick is going to even come back to coaching. Apparently so. He's doing interviews. He has interviewed with the Falcons and has got another interview this weekend. I'm hearing it's going to be one-on-one with the Falcons owner. So, to me, if he's taking that interviewing with the one-on-one with the Falcons owner, it's throwing it out there that this may be where Belichick ends up. He may end up in Atlanta.
Yeah, I've seen that it was high chances that Atlanta will hire him. Steve, can you imagine Atlanta Falcons going to 10 Super Bowls?
Well, here's the thing. He's meeting, of course, he already met with Arthur Blank on Monday. Deal isn't intimate, but the sides have mutual interest. Here's the thing: if people out there, and granted, Falcon fans, go ahead and get your hopes up. That's fine. I mean, but what did Belichick do without Brady?
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Pre Brady and post Brady, Belichick did nothing.
Oh,
And
yes, he did. He did Mac Jones. Yes,
I
sir.
mean,
And Bailey Zapp.
yeah, I that's what I'm saying. People always wanted to know, well, is it Belichick or is it Brady? I mean, I think Brady proved
Yeah.
that it was Brady because he goes to Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl there, has a lot of success. I think he made the playoffs every year. So Belichick made the playoffs 1 year after Brady left and didn't sniff it the rest of the time. So is it really? I mean, we're going to find out. We're going to find out if he goes to Atlanta, then we'll find out really quick because you know, they're a young team. They don't have a quarterback set in stone. I think Desmond Ritter, he's a second year quarterback. They don't have anything set in stone there. It's not like you've got a great offense. Of course, you got Bijan Robinson, the running back there that could be a superstar in the making. But after that, what have you got? And we'll find out if Belichick has still got it, if he can turn that team around. But I don't know. It sure seems like there's a lot of interest between those two.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a question for you. At one
Yeah.
time before Belichick stepped down, there was really big talks about him going to the Chargers. What happened to that situation?
I think the Chargers are infatuated with Jim Harbaugh. Um, of course, they interviewed Harbaugh already. Harbaugh, I don't know if Harbaugh is doing some things to get some leverage on a contract. He interviewed with Atlanta as well, and he also came out and said he was working on a new contract with Michigan. I don't think Harbaugh will be back with Michigan,
No.
but uh, you know, this will make it may make the Chargers say, okay, we need to up the ante here and give him whatever he wants to get him in here. Because I think it would be a good fit with him and Justin Herbert there. I know Justin Herbert would love to have him there, but we'll see. Mike Vrabel also interviewed with the Chargers and supposed to have Seahawks are supposed to be interviewing him as well. I don't know. And a lot of coaches after this weekend, two coaches that their future was kind of up in the air for different reasons. And we'll get into that once we recap the games. Let's see. Anything else up here that we need to talk about before? I think we're good. Nothing else we need to talk to. We can get right into the recaps of last weekend's games. So leading off on Saturday, Cleveland Browns travel to Houston to take on the Texans, and Matthew picked Houston to win. I picked Cleveland to win, and boy, was I wrong. Um, Joe Flacco fell back down to earth, and the Cleveland defense did not travel with the rest of the team. Um, it was a beat down. C.J. Stroud looked impressive. I mean,
Indeed.
we talked about, as a rookie quarterback, getting used to playing in the regular season, but then when you get to the playoffs, it's a whole different atmosphere. And how is he going to handle that? That was one of my questions. And let me tell you, he handled it pretty well. 16 for 21, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interception, a near perfect passer rating. And it is just a blowout. In the third quarter, Flacco threw more touchdowns for Houston than he did anytime during the game for Cleveland. 2 right in a row. And I mean the route was on then. And it ends up being a 45-14 route of the Browns by the Texans. You know, this defense for Cleveland, and I've been listening to a lot of people talk all week, and one podcast made a good point. If you look at Cleveland's defense when they travel and they're on the road, it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They disappear, and they disappeared. You know, let's see, 0 sacks. Ooh, wait a minute. You've got the paper, and I'm going to put him up there, paper defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett on that team, who is the best thing in the world since sliced bread on defense.
That's right.
Where's he at? Did he get hurt? No. He's on the field. No sacks, nothing. I mean, there was no pressure at all, you know, from the Cleveland defense. Of course,
and they choose Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And they choose Myles Garrett over T.J. Watt. I mean,
you know, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I know some people out there will be like, oh, you're a homer. You're a Pittsburgh homer. This has gone on for years with T.J. Watt. I don't know if the NFL has something against Watt, but there's been a few years he should have got it. He's got it one time. He should have had at least a couple of years. But, you know, this year, if they give it to Myles Garrett, I will – that'll be a whole show right there for me. But looking at some of the stats, you know, Flacco, 300 yards passing, but he had those 2 pick six and one touchdown. But after the first quarter, this game was never close. I mean, the 14 points were scored. They were shut out the second half. Cleveland was shut out the second half, 21-0 in the second half. And, boy, Houston looked really good. That defense looked good. The offense was clicking on all cylinders. Big matchup this week. We'll get to that a little bit. But, yeah, Cleveland didn't rock on this. Like the song said, Cleveland rocks. No, they rocked. All right, they rocked their way back home. But, yeah, Houston with a big win, 45-14. DeMeco Ryans, rookie head coach, gets his first playoff win. And looks like this may be a team you're going to have to reckon with. And if not next week, in the future, you're going to see big things out of this Houston team.
Indeed, especially C.J. Stroud. He's just amazing.
And if he doesn't get Rookie of the Year, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we had doubleheaders, unplanned doubleheaders for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So the second of the part of the doubleheader for Saturday is the Miami Dolphins traveling down to Kansas City, take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And game time temperature at Arrowhead Stadium, -4 degrees, and it felt, I think they said it felt like -30, -25, something like that. So definitely figured in Miami is not playing in the comfort of Miami right now. So we talked about 13 degrees a while ago. Can you imagine being out there at that place on the field or even watching that game at Arrowhead Saturday night?
Man, I don't even know if I would. Imagine how much you'd have to bundle up just to watch 4 quarters of that through that.
Look, people were buying $20 beers and having them explode because they froze. There was pictures everywhere of beers exploding. Just sitting in the little cup holder, beers just popped up. So you imagine paying $20 for a beer and can't even drink it because it froze before you could finish it. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's cold.
But not as bad as the Miami offense was on Saturday night. Man,
Terrible.
You want to talk about two teams that were on track to, as far as offense, team ball, that were on track to get to their conference championship game. So one in the AFC, one in the NFC, and really just fell apart down the stretch. and Miami is the one in the AFC that just fell apart down the stretch. Tua, I don't know what his problem is. They're going into this is going to be a key offseason for Tua. There's a lot of questions around can he get it done. I mean, Tyreek Hill is pretty much non-existent after that first touchdown. He had 8 catches for 62 yards. But the Chiefs, with Taylor Swift watching in the frozen press box up there, they had to thaw out the window so she could see her little lover boy, Travis, down on the field. The Chiefs get the win in a blowout, 26-7 over the Dolphins.
Stevie, I saw reports that it's not Tua that a lot of Miami Dolphin fans are questioning. It's Mike McDaniel.
Well, I think both of them, dude.
Yeah. I think
I would say both of them.
I mean, I think Mike McDaniel's a great coach, but something's not right.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have won, or at least gone a lot further for a few years now.
Yeah. Well, they got Tyreek now, and they got the fastest team in football, and that was supposed to be what got them to the playoffs. I know they had some injuries coming into this game. They had some guys out, but you put 7 points on the board and get shut out the second half.
Yeah.
Some people saying, well, it was the weather. Well, I mean, Kansas City had to play in it. I'm sure that they may be used to it, but they weren't looking forward to going out there and playing in it. What about Mahomes' helmet getting cracked? It took a hit. I think it was the cold. They were saying it was the cold. It was so cold out there that when he got hit, a piece of his helmet at the top of it cracked and came loose. No penalty called on that. I was surprised at that. But I know a good buddy of ours, a good friend of the show, Robert Matthew, said it's probably coming from all those temper tantrums he had slamming his helmet down on the sidelines.
That's right. All that pressure.
I wouldn't agree with that. But you know what? I'll tell you this about this Chiefs team. The offense is not what's going to carry them if they get back to the Super Bowl. The offense is not the thing everybody's talking about now.
No.
The defense is what people are talking about.
You look at their offense, they're actually really sloppy. And they have been. Like, even the year that they won the Super Bowl, they look sloppy, but they still managed to win somehow.
But this year, it's
worse.
The offense doesn't look as impressive, and that defense is carrying the load right now. Now, could the offense catch back up? Who knows? I mean, we'll see, but we'll see what they got this weekend, because we're going to have there should be a barn burner game coming up this weekend. 2 barn burner games coming up in the AFC this weekend. So, moving on to Sunday, moving on down the road, and this is where things get interesting here. Leading off at 4th, and let me tell you, when you're expecting a 1 o'clock game, the time between 1 and 4:30 feels like forever and a day. I sat there and I was like, is it 4:30 yet? No. 4:30 yet? No. 4:30 got here, and man, Cowboys fan wish they could just have it back, go back in time and just forget it, because Green Bay jumps all over Dallas. I didn't see the first quarter. When I turned it on, it was 7-0 already. It was in the second quarter, and Aaron Jones scored his second touchdown. I was like, okay, it's 14-0. I was like, Dallas is gonna come back from this. No, this is nothing unusual, nothing to get excited about. And then this Jordan Love, who, just like you texted me, Matthew, Jordan Love gets better every game. And man, did he get – you talk about 2 young quarterbacks in the playoffs this year, and both of them almost have perfect quarterback rating. Jordan Love, 16 for 21, 272 yards, 3 TDs, and no picks, 157.2 quarterback rating. So and then I'll look. It's 20 to nothing. The guy missed the extra point. And I'm like, that's going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah, I thought so too. I said that's going to mess them up.
Dallas is going to take advantage of that. They're going to take advantage of that. And I'll look, and next thing I know, I see. I've turned my head for a minute, and I look and I see 26-0. I'm like, what the heck? Dak throws a pick six, 64 yards. Darnell Savage returns a pick six, and it's 27-0. And I'm like, what in the heck? I'm thinking, okay, this is like a 10% chance they can't come back from this.
Yeah.
I'm still saying they got a chance to come back from it, but I'm like, and then they go down the field, get a touchdown, which shouldn't have counted. I'm sorry, Cowboy fans. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the guard jumped off sides on that touchdown pass and never got called. More the same in the second half. And look, like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of them I've listened to this week is the Locked On Cowboys podcast, because I want to see what their reaction was. One of the things that they said that made absolutely no sense to me, well, Aaron Jones didn't really hurt us till the game was already over.
No, 3 touchdowns.
Aaron Jones scored the first 2 touchdowns. He gassed that. And look, talk about Dak. Dak is trash. Dak is trash. Dak was trash this game. Talk about McCarthy and the coaching staff. Yes. But let me ask you something, Cowboy fans. Where was this defense that you guys keep talking about? Where was this Dan Quinn defense that is so dominant? Where was Micah Parsons? You know, Micah Parsons, after the first 2, I think he got 2 holding calls called against the Green Bay offensive lineman. Where did he go to after that? He was a ghost. He never figured into this game. You gave up 415 yards of total offense to the Green Bay Packers, and you're supposed to be the number 1 dominant defense in the NFL. And let me tell you something. All the Cowboys, the Dak guys out there talking, well, he threw for 400 yards. He threw for 400 yards in garbage time. 3 touchdowns in garbage time. After the Packers had put a lot of the backups in the fourth quarter, that's when the Cowboys started moving down the field.
That's right.
You couldn't do anything.
And Stevie, by that point, if they did, they had to, like, in order to get the lead, they had to get 4 extra 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
That is almost nearly impossible. I'm sorry.
It just I was sitting there and I was like, over 93,000 people were at Texas State, AT&T Stadium to see this. And they went home. But you know what? I heard a lot of Green Bay fans in that crowd. A lot of Green Bay fans in that crowd. The yards and stuff, Dallas had 510 yards. A lot of that was garbage time. No sacks by Dallas. 4 sacks for Green Bay. It was total domination. This game at 48-32, people say, okay, well, this was a quarter close. This game was not that close.
No.
Not that close at all. It was Green Bay. And look, how many times did Green Bay – I don't know who you are. Identify yourself. Love it when the Cowboys lose. Hail to the Redskins. I don't know who that is. Facebook user, identify yourself in the chat if you want to. How the Packers, if they wanted to get a big play, they ran that same play. Oh, it's Jim Britt. Jim Britt. Thank you for comment. Thank you for watching, Mr. Britt.
Yeah, thank you for coming up here.
Anytime they just ran that pass play. It was twice I saw where the Cowboys just act like they didn't know they were supposed to guard a guy. And Romeo Dobbs one time, I think Musgrave one time, wide open down the sidelines, and Dallas defensive backs. That great secondary too. Where was that at? I mean, I've listened to Cowboy fans for the last 2 months talk about this was the year. This was the year. This is what they're going to. And I told them, you guys are going to do exactly what I didn't think it would be this early. I thought it would be this upcoming week. They did exactly what I thought they were going to do. And now, Jerry Jones met with Mike McCarthy, and he's coming back next year. He's got one more year on his contract, so he's coming back next year. And now they're talking about extending Dak. So guess what? We can get used to seeing the same movie. It's like, you ever seen that Bill Murray movie, Groundhog Day?
Yes, you wake up.
Same thing happens over and over again. That's going to be the Cowboys. As long as, if you don't get, first of all, if you don't get Jerry away from the whole thing, just let him be the owner. Let him show up at the games and get his hands out of personnel decisions, all that stuff. This is going to, and you got McCarthy there, which I said from the start. Everybody said when he came there, McCarthy's the answer. McCarthy's the answer. I said from the start, he's not the answer. I don't think this is the answer for the Cowboys.
I think
so far he's proved me right.
Yeah. But I also think, Stevie, I think I told you before we got started, I think it's bigger than the problem is bigger than just McCarthy. I think it's up there in the owner's box.
Oh yeah.
All their top office people, I think, has got to go. Because this has been happening for 28, 29 years now. Where you just can't do nothing.
That's the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl was, 28 years ago? 29 now.
Yeah, way before I was born. Well, not way before, but 3 years before I was born.
It's on VHS if you want. If anybody's got a VCR out there, they want to watch it on. And yes, they beat the Steelers. Some questionable call. I still think Jerry Jones bought Neil O'Donnell some oil wells out in Texas to pay him off. But yeah, it's the same Motley Crue song, same old situation. And that's going to be the theme for the Cowboys if they don't do something. If they don't get Jerry away, get a young up-and-coming coach in there, you may have to struggle for a few years. Look at what Jimmy Johnson did. His first year, they were 1-15, and that's been, I guess, it's the curse of Jimmy Johnson's come up because ever since he left, you got that one Super Bowl. Switzerland, which was pretty much with Jimmy Johnson's team. Ever since then, yeah, Robert Jones got a ring. He got a couple there with whoever that is. I don't know if that's still you, Mr. Britt. Robert Jones got 2 rings with the Cowboys then. But yeah, it's going to be the same old. I mean, I don't know, you Cowboy fans out there, let me know what you think. What should the Cowboys do to try to change this crap in the playoffs? What should the Cowboys do? You let us know what you think. Even if you're not a Cowboy fan, let us know what you think they should do to get over this hump they're in. I mean, because they divisional playoff. Wow. I mean, they've been one and done. They've won one playoff game. I think Tampa Bay. They beat up on Tampa Bay. Yeah,
against San Francisco.
Yeah, Vincent Smith as well got a ring from ECU. This has got to be probably Kyle from LaGrange. I'm thinking with naming all these ECU players up here.
I think Cowboys should just continue doing what they're doing and not even get over the hump. I like it the way it's going.
Oh, I know you want it that way.
Yeah, I think it should. Just stay.
We got to be a little unbiased here. We got to be a little unbiased here.
I said it was not Mike McCarthy. I think they need to do this, they need to do that. But I can't do it so much, Steve.
As much as you hate it, bud, we got to be a little unbiased here.
I know.
All right. So we move on to the nightcap of Sunday night. the Rams and the Lions. What I thought was some of the most intriguing storylines, probably the most intriguing storyline in the playoffs so far. Of course, Matthew Stafford, longtime Detroit Lion, asked for a trade, got sent to the Rams, ends up getting uh, a Super Bowl out of it, and gets booed terribly by the Lions fans, which I thought was kind of unfair. I mean, the guy got hurt several times in Detroit. He gave it everything he had in Detroit, just couldn't get it done there. But he has never really come out and said anything bad about his time in Detroit. So, but Detroit fans, you know what? I'm with you there. I'm with you. This is your first time in the playoffs in a while, your first home playoff game in a while, and man, what a game it was. Detroit comes out firing, goes up on top 14-3 in the first quarter. But the Rams, let me tell you, Stafford, say what you want to about him. He's an older guy. He can still get it done. And he's tough. He's tough, man. I mean, and what about Nakua? Rookie wide receiver for the Rams comes up big. And I mean, I think this was like, I think they said the third highest receiving yards in a debut game in the playoffs. He had 181 yards receiving, had a big touchdown to get him back in the game. And you're looking at it at halftime, and it's like 21-17 Detroit, and you're like, oh gosh, are the Rams gonna pull this off and end like the storybook season right there in Detroit? Second half, not quite as many fireworks in the second half. There were 6 total points scored, and the Rams make it close, but Detroit ends up pulling it out 24-23. Stafford, okay, Mr. Britt, if you don't, why can't I tell his comment? If you don't give Facebook or StreamYard permission to put your Facebook, I guess, handle up here, it won't let me see who you are. When you sign in, I think it asks you if you'll give them permission to do that. So I don't know.
Just privacy.
Yeah, privacy stuff. You gotta allow it to happen. I don't know why all of a sudden I don't see you then, Mr. Britt. If you've done that, but as long as I know who you are right now, you're the only one commenting right now. But we'll see. Stafford 367 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. Has a great game. Jared Goff 22 for 27, 277 with 1 touchdown, no picks. So a really good game. But what really got me is the Lions fans. I mean, these guys haven't had a home playoff win since 1991, even longer than it was when the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl. But did you see the guy up there crying after the game, the Lions fan crying?
Yeah, just out of tears of joy.
His dad, what I heard, his dad had worked on Ford Field and was a diehard Lions fan and just passed away recently. And that was, I mean, it was pure emotion at that place. They stayed, I think they said they stayed up to an hour after the game. All the Lions fans stayed there. David Montgomery, who was the running back for the Lions, said Tuesday he stopped at a gas station to get some gas, was pumping his gas, and a lady just came up to him and hugged him and told him thank you. I mean, stuff like that. That's what you love to hear about fans, because these Detroit fans have been wanting a winner for a while, and it looks like, hopefully, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll be a Lions fan the rest of the playoffs. I mean, I'll pull for them the rest of the playoffs here. That's who I'm pulling for the rest of the playoffs here.
Me too, Steve. Stuck between them and Texans.
Well, I can lay out the Texans. I mean, I'll pull for the Texans. Of course, I'll pull for them this week. But so the Lions move on, and then we get to the Monday games. And you want to talk about? We talked a little last week about the weather in Buffalo, how it was going to be. There you go, Mr. Britt. Got you. See, we got you now. Jim Britt. All right, we got your picture and everything up here, bud. Appreciate it, buddy. He's a long time supporter of the show.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
So the weather at Buffalo, and I know a lot of people there was a lot of comments when the game got postponed from the 1 o'clock Sunday, and I'm looking at some of the video of there, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to play in that weather they had at 1 o'clock on Sunday in Buffalo at that stadium. And if the 4:30, but I'll give credit to the Buffalo the field crew to get that field looking the way it did from Monday to Sunday. Now the guys that were shoveling the seats, it didn't happen. I mean, that may have been they were asking for volunteers to come help shovel. But you look.
They were hiring people too. $20.
Oh yeah, they were hiring people. You see the guy on the excavator going down the excavator with no shirt on.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it.
I mean, come on, dude, that's crazy. But so they move it to Monday at 4:30, and we talked about it last week. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but I'm not drinking enough Kool-Aid like some people that are fans of other teams, or that I think I see when we are definitely the underdogs, and we were definitely the underdogs in this game. But I will say this: 2 turnovers. If those turnovers, and I mean, if is the biggest 2-letter word out there. If those 2 turnovers don't happen, this is a different ball game. Buffalo was definitely the better team, but you throw an interception in the red zone when we're down 21-7, that would make it a 1-score game. It's an interception. It's intercepted in the end zone. And plus, you have a turnover that gives Buffalo a short field, and both of those turnovers left to 14 points. Final score, Buffalo 31, Pittsburgh 17. Just one of those turnovers not happen, and turnovers are part of the game, I know. But, we go down 21-0. I say we like I play for the Steelers. Yeah, y'all didn't know it, but I'm getting paychecks from Pittsburgh.
You're in the wrong spot, man.
We get back in the game. I mean, we get back in the game. It's 21-14. And, well, it was 21-10, excuse me. And then, Buffalo pulls ahead 24-10 on a field goal. And then we get right back at 24-17, and then blam. Minka Fitzpatrick, I love you, buddy, but wrap up when you make a hit. Because that right there, they may have scored a touchdown anyway later on, but that right there was the dagger. They go up 31-17. This was a better game than what I thought it was. It's a closer game than 14 points, but Buffalo definitely the better team. Josh Allen, how in the heck do you let him break a 52-yard run? Although he did pull the old fake, I'm going to fake like I'm getting ready to slide and then don't slide, and people let up. And it is what it is. Josh Allen's an incredible quarterback.
Smart. He's smart.
Yeah, very smart. I like Josh Allen. I don't have a problem in the world with Josh Allen. But the Bills get to win 31-17. Mason Rudolph had his first turnover, and that was a costly one when he threw that interception in the end zone. Things could have been different, but still, Mason Rudolph proved these last 4 games that if you got a quarterback that can just play decent football and make some good decisions, then Pittsburgh can win. Pittsburgh can play a whole lot better, and the offense can move the ball. It wasn't after that 21-0, and I was like, oh my God, this game is over. And I was wrong. The game wasn't over. You did that without, TJ Watt not being on the field with the defense. So who knows? I mean, it's a lot of ifs. Like I said, if is the biggest 2-letter word out there. But Buffalo moves on. Pittsburgh goes home. After the game, the press conference with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, of course, gets another over 500 season, which I still, that was all cute and everything at first, but why we still celebrate that like it's a Super Bowl, I don't know. It's a great achievement, but how about win a playoff game? We haven't won one in a while. How about not giving up 30 points in the playoffs? We haven't done that in a while either. But yeah, he gets asked. You get Mike. You've got one more year left on your contract, and it was a good question. But I think with the frustration as a coach, I would have been frustrated after that loss. And that's not what you want to talk about at a press conference like that. I can't blame her for asking that question. I think it was Brooke Pryor from ESPN. I can't blame her for asking it, but I can't blame Tomlin either for walking off. And now word has come out that the Rooneys will probably give him an extension. So he's announced he would be back next year because there was some rumors going around that he may decide on his own not to come back to Pittsburgh, but that he mashed that out, which I know will make my buddy Steve Sumner, not the UPS driver Steve Sumner, but my other buddy Steve Sumner, really happy. He's such a Mike Tomlin fan. And that's sarcasm there, but if you can't sense that.
Yeah.
But, so Buffalo moves on and continues their hot streak. One time Buffalo, I think it was in December, had a 5% chance of making the playoffs. And now they're in the divisional round.
So at the right time, get good.
Exactly. What is it they say, Matthew? It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yes, sir.
As long as you get or got a chance in the playoffs and you're on a hot streak, you never know. 6 seed, 7 seed. What? Packers were the first 7 seed to beat a 2 seed. So
yeah, that's right.
All right.
Is Mason Rudolph going to be y'all's QB1 next year, or y'all can...
That's a good question, buddy. What Tomlin said in his press conference today was that Kenny Pickett would go in as QB1, but it would be with competition. Now, Rudolph is a unrestricted free agent, so we'll see. Obviously he can get some more. He can get more money in the free agent market than what he could have before these last 4 games. So we'll see if he wants to stay in Pittsburgh and compete for that job, or if he wants to go somewhere else and see if. I don't think anybody out there is going to give him starting quarterback money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he was impressive, but I don't think anybody out there was impressed. Like, oh God, Mason Rudolph, we can put him as a starter on our team. We're good. I don't think there's going to be any of that, but I think he did enough to, maybe a backup, a quarterback two, and. You can't go wrong with a good backup quarterback because you don't ever know what might happen. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the Steelers want to do with him, what kind of offer they make him. But I would love to see him back. I think we need to drop Trubisky, definitely, and spend that money on Rudolph if we can.
Well, I will say this, y'all. I don't think y'all would have made the playoffs without Mason.
No.
Not at all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely not. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a long offseason. So, the last game of the Super Wildcard Weekend, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. And me and Matthew both said Philadelphia is gone down. They fell apart. They're not going to win this game. Now, as much as we believe that, I don't think either one of us thought it would be this lopsided.
Yeah, not at all. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be more challenging for the Buccaneers.
But the Buccaneers jumped all over 10-0 in the first quarter. Then 16-9 at half, and They get shut out in the second half. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if you saw that. We've all heard A.J. Brown being critical of Jalen Hurts. And then you saw on the sidelines, Dallas Goddard, the tight end for the Eagles, having some words with Jalen Hurts on the sideline. So, what does this mean for the Eagles? Nick Sirianni, the head coach, we talked about it. Talked about a little bit last week. The how they've gone downhill since he made that little comment to the Chiefs crowd after that game. I don't think they've won but like one game since then.
Douchebag.
Tell us how you really feel, Matthew.
Yeah, I do not like Nick Sirianni at all. He gets on my nerves so bad.
But hey, we talk about quarterback stories, and I want to talk about this one because the Browns. I'm a Steelers fan, so I hate the Ravens. I dislike the Browns, and I'm not crazy about the Bengals either because they're in our division. The Browns fans still want to go out there and criticize Baker Mayfield, who they dropped after he got them to the playoffs the first time in God knows how long, and got a playoff win and was within they almost beat Kansas City that year. So then he has a bad year the next year. He's playing with his freaking shoulder in a harness. It wasn't his throwing shoulder, but when you throw the ball and put some zip behind it, your other shoulder is going to kind of jar too. So had to be in a lot of pain. And he did that for Cleveland. Didn't have the greatest year. So they decide, well, it's time we move on. We know what you did for us and what you done for us, but it's time for us to move on. Let me ask you something, Cleveland fans. Are y'all going to watch Baker Mayfield in the divisional round of the playoffs while y'all are sitting at home eating popcorn? I think you are. And you're still – I follow a lot of these team groups, the Cleveland Brown groups. They're still criticizing that guy. Still talking trash about him. What have y'all done with the $275 million Deshaun Watson besides flop? Yeah, you made the playoffs this year, but it wasn't because of him. He's sitting on the sideline. Who knows? He may be looking for the next masseuse. I don't know. I mean, Baker Mayfield, 22 for 36, 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he leads the Buccaneers to a playoff win, 32-9 over the Eagles, who just a month and a half ago may have been the favorite to get to the Super Bowl from the NFC.
Steve, there's something about Baker Mayfield. You can go back and look at some of our older shows. I've always liked Baker Mayfield.
Even though he played for Cleveland, bud, against us, I always liked him. I liked him at Oklahoma. He's got charisma. He's got heart. And
he does, yeah.
I said that after I came out after Cleveland dropped him and criticized Cleveland for that. That's why I was so quick to throw it back in their face right now. So any of you Cleveland fans out there want to debate me on this? Your quarterback, your franchise quarterback is probably sitting in Tampa Bay right now because you made a Cleveland Brown. That's what I call it. You made a Cleveland Brown. You screwed up. And I can't say the word I want to say, but you screwed up and you let him go. So
a lot of people called me crazy when Carolina got rid of Baker Mayfield, and I said, I don't think Baker Mayfield should go nowhere. I think he should stay. People are like, you're crazy. Baker Mayfield sucks. I'm like, no, he does not. I mean, he's not the best quarterback in the world.
And then they let him go there. He let him go from there, and he went to the Rams because Stafford got hurt. And I said, well, I didn't think they'd keep him as a starter. I said, would he be a good backup for the Rams? Well, they let him go too. And now the Rams have gone home. Panthers didn't even sniff the playoffs.
No.
And the Browns have gone home too. So he's a free agent this year. So you think Tampa Bay, you can do what you want to do, but this guy got you there. It got you to the division round of the playoffs.
Sure did.
Don't
And
be
that,
don't be
and
the
that,
Brown that I got to talk about.
a lot of times heart turns into talent.
Well, you can have all the talent in the world if you ain't got heart.
Well, that's right, but you're exactly right. And you can tell he's got heart.
You may do some things with all that talent, but if you don't got heart, because even though you got all that talent, there's gonna be times where that talent ain't gonna take you everywhere. You're gonna be struggling, and whoever's got the most heart's gonna come away with the win. And he's got heart. He's definitely got heart.
Oh yeah, I knew that as soon as he was playing in a shoulder harness. Never forget that.
Yeah, and that wasn't just for one or two games, guys. That was for most of the year.
Yeah,
that was for much of the year. All right, so divisional rounds coming up this weekend. And let's get our picks and what we think about these games. Saturday, 4:30, the upstart Houston Texans travel to Baltimore to take on the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. Sorry, Miss Jackson. And I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson, but I'm not picking you this week. You may put it in my face, but I'm not picking you this week. I'm picking the Texans to win. I think, look, Marlon Humphrey, probably the best defensive back the Ravens have, has been ruled out. That C.J. Stroud is not intimidated by, if he wasn't intimidated by the great Cleveland Brown defense, he's sure not intimidated by Baltimore Ravens. I know they had a matchup early in the year. It was 25-9. Baltimore wins, but it was closer than 25-9. Baltimore pulled away there at the end. I think, and this 9-point favorite, I would take that all day with Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 9. I would take it all day. I'm going Houston. I think Lamar does his usual thing. Just like I said, the Cowboys are going to do their usual thing. Lamar does his usual thing in the playoffs, and Houston gets the upset win over Baltimore.
I'm right there with you, Stevie. I spoke very highly of C.J. Stroud. It'd be kind of hypocritical of me if I didn't go with Houston Texans.
All right.
I just don't. I don't believe in Lamar Jackson. I just don't.
Well, I mean, Baltimore has a history of doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
The last time they were number 1 seed in 2019, they lost at home in the divisional round to Tennessee. So we'll see. I hope Houston doesn't let me down. All right. The 8:15 game, the Packers and the 49ers. And nobody expected to see this matchup, but it's here. So what do you think, Matthew? I'll let you go first this time. You got Green Bay or you got San Francisco?
I know Green Bay did good last week. They look great. But this is San Francisco, not Dallas.
I agree.
I'm going with San Francisco. I mean, you got a healthy San Francisco team. Your odds are against you.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say this: the defense, another great defense that Jordan Love's going up against. Can he do that? I think it's going to be a closer game than what a lot of people think. I know they're showing their favor by 9.5. I think it's going to be closer now. I think it's going to be like a 5-point game, but I think San Francisco gets the win at home. But can you imagine if these two games, these Saturday games, if Houston and Green Bay would have won these two games, it would throw. I mean, you'd have both the number 1 seeds out. Wow, it would throw a lot of people. A lot of people would be up in the air.
It'll be interesting.
It happened. I don't. I'm telling you, I don't think San Francisco needs to take Green Bay too lightly. I don't think they will because of what happened last week in Dallas. But we'll see. All right, your Sunday games leading off at 3 o'clock. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Now I'm going to go with Detroit here, just because I want to see Detroit win. Mainly because I want to see Detroit win. But Tampa, I think, could give them a good fight. I mean, Detroit's favored by 6.5, but I think Detroit has just got that momentum and playing at home. I think they're going to win it. I don't know if you heard what's his name, the Buccaneers head coach. Oh gosh, I could see him just playing today. Todd Bowles, I think that's what it. He got asked. Uh, he got this lady reporter should have been so embarrassed. She asked him in the press conference this week, Monday, how do you plan to prepare for playing in that cold in Detroit? She's like, it's supposed to be like 13 degrees. How do you plan on getting your players accustomed to that cold? And he was like, you do know they've got a dome, right? They're playing inside. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But yeah, I still think Detroit gets a win. Maybe a field goal win. It'll be a close game like it was against the Rams, but Detroit gets the win.
Yeah, I'm going with Detroit too. I think they get the win. They're hot right now. They've been hot for a few years, and I think they're fun to watch. And because of that, I like to see them go all the way.
Could happen. Could happen. All right, and then the last game of the division round, Chiefs versus the Bills. What you got, Matthew?
This is tough. I would like the Bills.
You like the Bills?
Matter of fact, I'm going with Buffalo. I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
Now this is a rematch of what was it, a couple years ago that was it the AFC Championship game a couple years ago, or was it divisional? Maybe it was divisional round a couple years ago, where
21. Yeah.
they scored all those points in the last 3 minutes of the game, and unfortunately Kansas City pulled it out there at the end, and that was one of the things that people talked about in the overtime, where they need to let both teams get the ball in overtime. Because they could have been there. I think they could have been there all night playing the way they were going.
Yeah.
Will Jim Britt send Taylor home? He's picking the field. Send Taylor home. Well, Jim, we were trying to figure out. I actually had a picture that would make a great album cover for Taylor's next album. I'm sure she'll be writing some songs after, because I think Buffalo takes it here. Chiefs are playing. This is Mahomes' first playoff road game. So how does he handle that? That's quite remarkable, though. As much as whatever you think of him, that's quite remarkable that he's been there that long, been in the playoffs as many years as he has, and this is his first away road game in the playoffs. But I've got the Bills. Well, I think the Bills get over the hump with them, and go to the AFC Championship game. Taylor can return to the recording studio and write some songs about Travis.
That's right. She broke her heart.
But I think Josh Allen is just the key here. I mean,
yeah, yes,
not Mahomes. No, not Mahomes. But I think he's the key here on how this game goes. And you don't need to run him so much. I mean, let Cook kid can run the ball. But if he happens to break a 62-yard touchdown run like he did against Pittsburgh, by all means, let him do it. But just let him make good decisions.
I mean, it's going to be now. Kansas City's defense is good. That's about the only thing that is good, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying the offense ain't good. I'm just saying their defense is impressive. But I think Josh Allen can outsmart them. Get Cook, run the ball. I don't think they're real good at the run game. stopping the run game.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they can run the ball on him, if Cook can run the ball and open it up for Allen, I don't know if Gabe Johnson, because Gabe Johnson, just their second wide receiver, he was out last week. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back this week or not. But what was that kid? Oh gosh, what was his name? The one that caught the touchdown there at the end. I don't know, but whoever that kid was, he made it big the last couple of weeks since Gabe's been out. He's really picked it up for him. So
he's a rookie, right?
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah, I know.
He's fast. But yeah, so that's our picks. Guys, let us know what your picks are. Huh?
We on the same page this time, ain't we?
Yeah, we picked the same. We picked some upsets, and it wasn't like we picked like Houston over Baltimore. That's an upset. So it wasn't like we just picked what everybody expected.
Yeah, that's right.
So coming out of the Philadelphia game, some news came out after the game. 13-year veteran Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce told teammates he was retiring following that. Of course, he's the brother of Travis Kelce. He's thought about this for a while. Even last year, after getting to the Super Bowl and losing, he said he might hang it up, but he wanted to give it one more go. He declined to speak with reporters after the game. He said, "No, guys, not today." And then he kind of hinted to the teammates that it was his last year, and he made it official. Said he was going to retire. And I would have liked to seen him get a Super Bowl win because he's always been like a class act.
Yeah.
He was a six round draft pick, 193 regular season games, 12 postseason games, and then he did get the Super Bowl. He got the Super Bowl against New England that year, so he did get a Super Bowl. Definitely going to be a Hall of Famer.
But then I also saw like he's not retiring.
Oh, he's retiring. Yeah,
I think so too. But it sounds like he's kind of on the line about it. I think he wants to, but he don't. So, I mean, I figured probably not, but
yeah, I think he's going to end up retired for sure. Just looking over some of the Eagles players or getting behind Nick Sirianni.
Jalen Hurts said he wants the coaches fired.
Well, you know what? Jalen Hurts is probably, because there's a lot of players that want Sirianni back. So that may be part of the rift there.
Yep.
With some of the team. Talk in New Orleans about what's his name? Gosh.
Jameson.
No, not Jameis, about freaking. When you get old, it's bad, bud.
I'm just not good at names.
Hold on, I'm gonna find his name right quick. Gruden. There's a lot of talk about the Saints could hire John Gruden as their offensive coordinator next year, but the lawsuit he's got against the NFL for all that crap that came out a couple years ago, they got him fired from the Raiders. Could keep that from happening. Dozens of fans treated for hypothermia during the Dolphins-Chiefs game. There were some stupid idiots, and I'm sure they were drunk, that were out there with no shirts on. Crazy.
Speaking of Saints, we just Giants just hired their running back coach.
Okay.
Joel Thomas, I think.
Okay.
He's been there for
Reaver is going to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
So that should be good.
Yeah.
So Caleb Williams, potential number one pick, declared for the draft, and also said that he did not want to be picked by Chicago.
He wants to go to Minnesota, so I hear.
Well,
So if that's the case, Minnesota's got to
Eli.
do what?
I said he may pull a Eli.
He might. Yeah, he might. And become the greatest, like Eli.
Oh, jeez. Whatever. Good, great, but not the best.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's not the best, but he's good.
He was great, not the best. He came up big in the clutch. I'll put it to you that. Especially against the Patriots, which I love him for that.
Yeah.
So, any last words before we get out of here, Matthew?
No, not this time. Thank y'all for coming up here and listening to.
Okay, I'm listening to you, bud.
Okay. Thank y'all for coming up here and listening to us and commenting.
Jim, Britt, appreciate you all your comments in here tonight. We actually got your picture up here with your big ECU fan. Guys, if you didn't check it out early in the week, I just put up my interview up with former Notre Dame quarterback Rick Meyer. You can find that if you look on the Final Score at Apple Podcast, Spotify, or just look on our Facebook page. You'll see that episode. Great interview with Rick Meyer. He was a legendary quarterback at Notre Dame. Didn't have the NFL career that everybody thought he would have. Number 2 pick in the draft by the Seattle Seahawks. I think Drew Bledsoe was the number 1 pick that year. So he could have ended up in New England if he would have been the number 1 pick. I think it was kind of up in the air if he would be the number 1 pick or not. But we talk a lot about Notre Dame. Even mentioned Rudy Rudiger. He's got a good story about Rudy, the legend. Of course, they made a movie about Rudy, so But he's got a story up there about Rudy. If you want to check that out, please do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast at, like Spotify, Apple, Podchaser, wherever you listen to your podcast at, guys. Please give us a good 5-star review. It takes you like 2 minutes. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it will help us out tremendously with getting interviews and getting a good show out here. I want to throw a special shout out to a friend of mine, Bubba Rosenbaum, who does the Sports Objective podcast, for helping us with these overlays you see out here tonight, guys. We got some different stuff. You see all the links right there to our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube page, and Bubba designed that for us, and really appreciate it, Bubba. Really appreciate all the work you did, and we learned a few tricks with the intro video. We'll be doing more of that. Maybe you'll see a few more tricks coming from the Final Score this year. Anyway,
I'll take over the outro. So I got my microphone right here.
Oh my God!
Just let me know when you're ready. I'll.
Oh
jeez. Just imagine me coming out from the top of the stadium, down a line or whatever they do. That's what I'm about to do.
Oh man, guys, you might want to turn it off now. But anyway, guys, we will see you next week on the Final Score. Enjoy your week and try to stay. Please stay warm and enjoy football this weekend. And we'll see you next week on the Final Score.
Don't break my achy, breaky heart.
Oh, my God.